Hey everybody, I'm Andrarchy, the head of communications for Steemit, and today I'm here with Steve Gerbino, one of the blockchain developers for Steemit. He's going to tell us a little bit about his background and what he does for Steemit. Hey Steve.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. So you start by just telling us what you did before Steemit?
I started writing software, getting into computers and programming at around 12. One of my family members bought a computer for me, and I was hooked, fascinated instantly. I started fooling around with Linux and Bash scripting, and this was a hobby of mine for a few years. I didn't yet consider it my profession. I went to college for, business, general stuff. And I got a business-like job when I got out of college. And I wasn't quite happy with my career. I really enjoyed creating things. And, the beauty of software is with no materials except for your brain, you can create, beautiful things. So I decided to turn my hobby into my profession. And I ended up going back to college for computer science. And during that time, I wanted to get as much real world experience as I possibly could. So I ended up joining a company doing web development. And I worked on content management systems like Drupal and Joomla. And I did that till I graduated college. And once I was out, I got into the financial world. I worked on a giant program, millions of lines, that was basically for oil trading, any kind of commodity trading. And I did that for 5 years. I wanted to move into something innovative, and I started to get into cryptocurrencies. And I saw the opportunity to work for Steemit and work on the Steem blockchain. So I immediately took up that opportunity, and I, interviewed at Steemit, studied pretty hard, got fundamentals down, and then I started on the chain. I started with little things like bugs and some SMT features, little tiny ones, get your feet wet. And then I worked on Mira after what I call the reckoning. Cost-cutting measures needed to be taken. So, we revamped the backend database with RocksDB. That was a big project. And now I'm back laser focused, trying to get SMTs out.
Yeah, so could you tell us a little bit about the work you've done so far on SMTs?
Yeah. Well, when I first got hired, I did work around NIAs, which is numeric asset identifiers. It's basically it's a unique ID for an SMT. The names are not in the chain. It is a number that represents the SMT. So I did work around that. They basically come from a pool of available numbers, so you can't claim vanity numbers, like 0000 or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It comes from a pool of available numbers. So I implemented that pool, and I fixed some issues in the NI code. That was basically the SMT work I did when I first got hired, which was back in last August. After that, I worked on Mira. And so the gist of that is everything was held in RAM, and it was costing us a ton of money to run instances in AWS, requiring so much RAM. So we wanted to move that to disk to save money and make it easier to run on commodity hardware. So I did a lot of deep diving into RocksDB. It's very complicated. So that took some time to unravel. And then I like to think of it as, pulling the tablecloth and all the plates stay on the table. Well, basically, what we implementing Mira is like pulling the tablecloth out and then putting it back on, and everything stays the same. That was the goal, and we accomplished that. It took a couple of months, and we finished up maybe a month or so ago, 2 months ago, and now I'm back on SMTs. So my goal now is to finish the ICO process. So we'll be able to, maybe by next week, I'll have the code in there that creates the SMT, sets up the parameters, launches the ICO, allows contributions to happen, evaluates it at the end of the contribution time. Did we have enough contribution to be considered a success? Either fail it or move on to the launch token stage. So that's what I've done so far, and about 1 week into the future.
And so after that, what work remains to be done on SMTs, and are there any serious challenges you foresee with that work that might cause delays or might just prevent us from shipping it at all?
I don't foresee any major hurdles to get in the way of us shipping SMTs. The work that will come after that is all around proof of brain and token emissions, and also how RCs are handled within the SMT ecosystem. I think that part can be a little complicated. There may be opportunities to simplify, but I don't see any hurdles that would stop us from a release, soon.
Well, the reason I ask is because I think a lot of people know that SMTs are delayed, and so they imagine that there's some mysterious technology that we have to, develop that's causing the delay. Like, oh, we failed to invent gluons that are needed to make this happen. And maybe they'll never be able to solve this mysterious problem, and they'll never ship SMTs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. That's not the case at all. It's just we need to have a block of time where we can be focused on SMTs and not be pulled in a million directions. There was a lot of things that happened over the last couple of months that we had to take our time, our focus off of SMTs, like Hard Fork 20, like Mira, and even now the EIP, the SPS. This is all things that we need to look at, and context swapping is expensive, even for humans. So that basically, it makes it difficult to stay on track. And, there's a lot of unknowns. When issues come up, how much time is that going to take to resolve? You can't predict that all the time. Once we have a clear block of time allocated for SMT development, it will get done.
Yeah, which is what we have right now, right? Like you're pretty much working on it full time. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm that and supporting testnet right now. But when I would say when Hard Fork 21 gets released and there's no fires, then it's just clear sailing for SMTs. So there's still some things,
Yeah, but the issue is less SMTs and more the other stuff that winds up pulling our attention, right?
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
No, that's a really good point. Okay, so now could you tell us about your vision for Steem? Where do you see this thing going in 5-10 years?
Yeah, absolutely. Where I see Steem going, well, I think there's a lot of altcoins, if you want to call it that, everyone does, that provide little to no value. And some of them are valued market cap wise more than Steem right now. And I think that that will change soon. I think that altcoins, there will be a shakeup, and a lot of these altcoins will die off. I think Steem is one of the few coins that actually provides a service, performs a function, and has real world possibilities right now. I I think that it's not yet understood by the masses, and marketing can solve that. Getting listed on Coinbase can solve that. If you never heard of Steem, I mean, if you're in crypto, you know Coinbase. You probably have an account. You're going to say, what is Steem? And it's going to cause a chain effect, right? I want to see mobile presence for Steem, like Partico. Something I'm a big fan of censorship resistance, and I want mobile clients to interact directly with the chain. Nothing can be censored that way. You know, that's what I would like to see, you know, in the next, I want to see it tomorrow, you know, but things take time and we'll get there. That's my Steem fantasy though.
Well, with an aim towards getting things done as soon as possible, I will let you get back to work on SMTs.
Great. Thank you. Thanks for having me.